Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. And I've got Jennifer Main with me this morning. We're so excited about going to Cretan, but also I know you're excited, but I'm so excited about people learning this powerful course that you teach, Theta. So I wanted to get you on, Jen, just to really educate people on what it is and how it can help them and their families. So take it away.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, I'll share a little bit about my connection with it because that might help inform people on whether it's aligned or connecting or clicking with them. But basically, I came across someone who was doing theta healing in a taster session in 2009. I think that's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Or 2008, maybe.
Not yesterday.
Oh, no. And really just like loved the feel of the energy. I didn't know quite what was going on, but thought it was interesting. So went and did a session with her. And then it was so funny because towards the end of that session, she was like, "Are you going to go train in theta healing?" And I was like, "No, I've just done my Reiki courses. I'm like just getting into that." And of course, that night I was online and had booked in for a course that Friday. So it was like one of these things where I was like, "No, I'm not going to do it." And then I was like, "Yeah, I am."
Yes.
And I decided I'd gone down to London. I was just going to take the basic class and the first 3-day level 1 class. And halfway through that, I was talking to the instructor and I was like, I need to stay for the advanced class too. So I was on the phone with my boss on a Saturday afternoon, like, I'm not coming to work Monday. I'm going to be down in London. And it was, for me, it was just this really clear marriage and union of psychology and consciousness and energy work. So I studied psychology. I've always been interested in what makes people tick. I want to understand what motivates us. Like, we're all weird and crazy and strange. And so bringing some sense into that had a big appeal for me.
Yes.
And I was also someone who was super highly sensitive and intuitive, but did not understand my intuitive gifts. I didn't know how to use them. I felt overwhelmed by them a lot of the times. It was very confusing growing up, being really sensitive and intuitive and having no kind of language for it or way to kind of talk through it or process it out. So what I found was that, taking those kind of 3 and 6 days of class really just helped me to answer a lot of the questions I had about myself and the world around me. It helped me to make sense of a lot of things that I kind of went, that's what's happening there. I get it now. And it gave me some real tools. Really, I went for myself. I was, I had my own migraines and digestive issues and all these things going on. I wanted to understand my life more and figure out my next, where I wanted to be, what I wanted to be doing. So I really went to take those courses just for myself. And then after some point in time of kind of taking courses and practicing, that's when I said, actually, maybe I want to use this with other people. So started then working with clients and then started teaching. But I really did go, and that's one of the things we've talked about what's so great about it is the technique you can use on yourself. You can use it with friends and family if they want, or you can take it farther if you want it to be something that you're practicing professionally. So it's a nice, I'm a fan of any modality that you can use on yourself.
Yes, well, I mean, I talk about that a lot from the Heal Scotland perspective, which is we want to teach you how to fish. Yeah. We're happy to give you fish until you learn, but we really are looking for people now with our really quite terrifying health stats that are coming around. We need to get this information out. It's not even up for debate anymore. It's critical for us to understand the body, to understand the power that we have over the body, to get together with like-minded others. Because obviously the first time I did Theta with you was in Skye last year. So it's about probably about 12 months ago right now.
Yeah, in February. Yeah.
Yes. And I was just like, oh my God, this is all the stuff that I'd studied, but kind of packaged and bottled in a very, very easy to understand way. And, and also with teaching breathwork and understanding brainwave states, and that when you're in Theta, that's when things are easier to release. It's not an exact science, obviously, but there's definitely when we can change our brainwaves, we can actually do that quite simply. And you teach that, obviously. But also the girl that wrote the book, I was like, this is all of it. And the other thing that really struck me, which I already knew, but was that if you're not healing, it's because of the subconscious beliefs. And this is the other thing that, just a lot of people are not, I include myself in that, we're not aware of really, that the body's holding all this information that is literally keeping us stuck in the past. So, and you teach, obviously, you're doing Theta 1 and then on to Theta 2. So it's a process. You get the book, you get the workbook. So all you have to do then is do it and practice it, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And that is the thing. It's what I come back to. I was talking about this weekend with a group of people. It is a practice. Like life is a practice. It's a journey. It unfolds. You build your confidence. You understand it more deeply the more you use it. But it is something that, with the technique of, as you're saying, kind of altering your state, going into a theta brainwave. The first day we're doing it kind of nice and slow, so your mind understands where it's going and what it's doing. But by the second, third day, you're just in a theta brainwave. And we know that theta brainwaves are where the body heals, where we can change subconscious beliefs, where emotional things can resolve. And then you take that technique and you can do it on the bus. Like you can sit on the bus and do your own body scan and go in and change belief systems. So it's not that you've then got to go to a month-long silent retreat, which those are great. Go do them if you feel called. But it's something that's very practical, something that you can use in your real daily life that can just bring you back to yourself, bring you back to some awareness, help you reconnect with yourself, and then actually do something about whatever it is that's coming up in that moment. So again, you can get really woo-woo and out there with it, and you can get really grounded and clear in the moment. So it's really fun in that sense.
Well, it's really fun, and you make it fun, obviously, because you have seen, and I think, for people that have not heard the story about how, like when I met you the first time all these years ago, and our friend Alina had been very, very ill, and had been sitting up at night basically praying and researching and trying to, it was Crohn's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And she was to all intents and purposes dying. And she came across your course, and on the first day, it was very easy to measure, because she was going to the toilet about 25 times a day, and she just stopped. Mm-hmm. And she was obviously then awakened and alerted to the power within. There was no nutrition talk. There was no nothing. It was all about brainwave states and letting go of the whatever it is that needs, because it's a form of letting go as well, right?
Yeah.
And so she, and like most of us do, she was like, great, I'm cured. Then went back and started repeating all the old behaviors. Mm-hmm. But she knew now, right? She'd had the evidence that this could be healed. Mm-hmm. And she then obviously started to make adjustments, because this is the constant thing, is that, well, how little do I have to do in order to get well? And then how do I stay well without ruining my whole life? Mm-hmm. These are the kind of limiting beliefs that we have around healing. That's going to be very difficult. We have to stop doing all the things that we love, and then to stay well or to stay a certain weight is going to require, like, having to give up all the joy in life. And it's crazy, isn't it? So why would you want to do that? And you might not even know that you're holding these beliefs.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like the stuff that even still comes out of my mouth when I'm talking through, when I'm kind of digging into these old belief systems, the stuff I'm saying, I'm like, where did that even come from? And the reality is that sometimes this is past life memories or the collective consciousness, whatever you believe in. It can be kind of ancestral experiences and memories that are still kind of cycling through us. There's stuff that we've learned in childhood and growing up that's there on all these levels. And, the idea is that it doesn't matter so much what level it's on. It's just about kind of then understanding the why you've allowed it to continue to cycle through on these unconscious levels. And the idea is that it's serving you in some way. And our conscious mind goes, no, it's creating problems. It's having all these difficulties with my money or my job or my relationship. But it's your subconscious mind is always trying to either keep you safe or do something that's going to serve a purpose. Mm-hmm. So it's working really hard to keep you alive and keep things going. But on a more conscious level, we can go, actually, I've grown out of that. I no longer need to experience that anymore. I want to be doing something else with my life. I want to be more awake and alive and aligned. But once you kind of, the idea is when you bring that subconscious to light and you understand the why behind it, it starts to resolve itself, because it's built on kind of rickety foundations anyway. Like none of it's that strong. So once you start to uncover it and resolve it, then it creates space and spaciousness for new behaviors, for a new identity, for new ways of doing things. You get to kind of build in a new way. And I could, after that kind of first and second course, I realized how much of my life I had been choosing because of my parents and my grandparents. And I wasn't totally off. It wasn't that things were so wrong, so bad, but I recognized I had all these belief systems and patterns where I was going, oh, I'm making this really hard on myself. This is so difficult for me. It's so painful for me. I'm denying myself so many things that would be good for me or fun or enjoyable. And again, I didn't consciously know any of this. It was all unconsciously being done. And once I and that was a real moment of awakening for me, of kind of going, oh, I'm just following in their footsteps, when I could have a whole different path that's mine, where I can still honor them and still use the gifts that I've inherited and appreciate and enjoy it, but also do it in a way that's aligned and healthy for me. And I think that's what really changed my life, was having that awareness of, oh, these are things that are cycling through me, but I don't have to follow them anymore.
Yes. And I think, let's talk about because it's very similar to what I do. I quite often use visuals of the energy side of the body, because I think, and maybe there's people watching this right now who feel the body's this big kind of physical meat suit. It's heavy, and especially if it's, if it's tired and it's achy and it's not doing what you want it to do, it can be very difficult to remember there's a whole energetic side to the body where information can travel at the speed of light. And how would you know about that? I mean, it's a bit like, I always think it's like believing the earth was flat. That's a perfectly logical thing to believe. If you look out and you think, well, how on earth would these buildings stay up if so, and it's the same with the bodies. We're kind of going from, all right, you're not just a chemical, biological, physiological being, you're actually an energy being as well. And that information flows through the body. And obviously we know the fascia, this incredible, crystalline plasma that holds a lot of this information. And I always use the analogy to, like, if you're walking up, doing a hike in the Himalayas, and somebody just keeps putting an extra brick into your bag, your rucksack, at some point your knees will buckle. And I think that a lot of people's knees are buckling right now. And what we do with things like Theta, and, there's other ways to do it, but we're talking specifically about Theta, the simplicity of it, the process. This is a process that you go through. You do this, this is the questions that you ask. You can literally teach anybody that's got an open mind and a willingness to learn, and you will get a result, because we know that. We've seen it time and time and time again. When we tell the story about when the last day of the retreat last year, when my niece had messaged me to say that her baby had been born under 3 pounds and was fighting for her life. And I was just absolutely distraught. And you obviously perfectly were there to help me deal with my emotions and my feelings and my worst case scenario. And then we did the healing on her. And that night she came off the ventilator. And, we'll never know. Was that directly us? I like to take the credit.
I'm going to help a little.
The love that poured into that wee girl from us, and my niece as well, and obviously all the family and Jordan, everybody that was involved. It's something to do when the crisis hits, and the crises hit, don't they? Yeah. And then when you start to understand the body in this different way about, it's literally light and information, then you can use Theta. And, having a Theta community of people that believe, because there will be people that are like, that's all shite.
And it's not for them, and that's okay.
I know. But you know what was so interesting when I was down at that course last week, which totally blew my mind? They were talking about wealth, obviously, but I would just put health in, because they were talking about how, if you go home and say, I'm setting up a new business, you'll get people going, that'll never work. Yeah. If you go home and say, I've been diagnosed stage 4, but I'm going to try and heal myself, there's people who will say, that'll never work. It's the same thing. So their message was surround yourself by entrepreneurs, people who believe in you, people who can teach you. And I'm thinking it's exact same. Just replace the word wealth with health.
Yeah.
So when you're doing Theta, to have another crew, you're going to meet people obviously that are also attracted to the honeypot of Theta, and then we can all keep each other in line, because you have to practice it like anything else. And it's another tool in your toolbox. And not only can you use it for yourself, you can bring it into if you're a therapist, you can bring it in as another beautiful addition to your therapy practices. So I think as we, because I've been thinking about this a lot since I've been in that course, because obviously my mission, apart from to turn the health trajectory of Scotland from one of the worst to one of the best in the world, my own personal mission is to inspire people in the magnificence, the sacred intelligence and magnificence of the human body. We've been terrified about our bodies.
So one of the things that really hit home in these courses, and it's still, I still have deeper moments of clarity over the years, but as you're saying, it's that awareness that everything is energy. And if everything is energy, of course we can change energy. Of course it can shift and move. And when we're going into a theta brainwave, what we're doing is we are connecting with the energy of unconditional love and of creation. That energy can become anything it needs to be. So this is why it's so powerful that, like with your niece or with people that are still ill, or even with yourself, if you don't know what to do, you go into a theta brainwave, you call in that unconditional love, and the unconditional love can come in and start to do some work. Now, it will depend on your degree of readiness and willingness and other things that play in, which we could spend all day talking about. But just having that awareness, that foundation of, if I can sit with this unconditional love, either something within me will heal that will help the situation to change, or if they are open to that, it can change within them on some level as well. The number of times I've had, students, clients, people talking to me, and they're like, I've had this thing in my family for generations, for decades. I don't know what to do. I can't figure out how to fix it. And which is what we all are trying to do. We're trying to fix everything. And my advice is always, I'm like, if you don't know what to do, you sit and you envision that love going in. You don't try to direct it. You don't try to make it do anything. You just let it be there. And almost every time they're like, something changed, something happened. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it changed.
Because it's actually the trying that causes the contraction and can inhibit the flow. 100%. Because I just talk about it all now as flow.
Yeah.
When we can stay in the flow, the energy does its own job. We don't need to do anything. Yeah. We need to get out the way.
That's exactly it. We just need to get out of our own way.
So let's talk a bit about Theta 1 and then Theta 2. And obviously there'll be some people that will come and do one and then the other. And there'll be some people that will think they'll not want to do two that will want to stay on, probably. That's normally the way it works. So can you explain what happens in the Theta 1 course?
Yeah. So the first class, we spend the first day talking about essentially a lot about the kind of the levels of belief, where they come from, a deeper understanding. We start to touch into your intuition, the way you witness, the way you perceive the world. And then we learn the meditation technique that takes you into a theta brainwave, which we do once. It takes a couple minutes the first time you do it. And then it just gets faster and faster, because then your mind knows what you're doing. The reality is we're going in and out of theta brainwaves all the time. We're dropping into it as we're going to sleep. Deep meditation will put you into it. Your brain already knows how to do it. So we're just training you how to understand what is going on. We also then start with a body scan. So you learn how to see, feel, know, hear within the body. So it starts to become something that is more familiar to you, instead of something that, you're only seeing the skin, or you can only kind of feel bits and pieces of that's going on. You recognize you are that energy field, and actually you can connect with what's happening on some deeper levels within the body. And then that day we also learned how to start changing beliefs. So how to identify where beliefs are within your energy field, what those beliefs are. We use some very simple muscle testing for anybody that's trained in kinesiology. We just do a very simple technique with that. And then you learn how to change those beliefs, and you get to see and witness and feel them changing on different levels. So you are changing the belief systems, which changes the chemistry within the body. It changes the outcome of your choices, because if you believe differently, you choose differently. So all these things start to shift on all these different levels. So over the next 2 days, we spend more time kind of practicing, kind of talking through identifying negative, unhealthy beliefs and changing them. And then we also do something called, in Theta healing, it's called the 7 planes of existence. And this changed my life, actually. Starting to understand the 7 planes, because again, everything is energy, everything is vibration. If you can start to understand the vibration levels that you're working with, and you can identify the energies that you are connecting with, again, it just demystifies a lot of things. So sometimes people are connecting with their ancestors and they're like, I'm getting an answer, I'm getting a nudge, and I don't know where this is coming from. And some people feel really cut off from like their guardian angels or their energetic team. Some people really struggle with like time and understanding the link between the present and the future. So we learn more about the planes. We learn more about kind of the vibration of the energetic world. And then we actually do some practices, some readings. We play with it, so you get a sense of what it feels like. So we do actually connect with guardian angels. We have a chat with them. We get a sense of their energy. And for some people, that's such a huge relief because they've just never had that awareness of what that energy feels like. So knowing that you're connected with something benevolent and kind and loving is just healing in itself. We do future readings so that you're no longer afraid of the future. You understand that what you're choosing now helps to create it, and you can see the consequences of what you're choosing now. So again, you can change those choices now. We oh gosh, hold on. Of course, my mind's gone blank. We learn how to manifest in a theta brainwave, which again, just you're opening up to that energy of creation so that it becomes easier to manifest the things that you want to create. We do things like DNA activation, which there's other modalities and things that do these. You know, we're being activated by the land, by circumstances. You know, most people are being activated to some degree now. So this is just a continuation of that. And the idea is that when our DNA is activated to the level where it used to be before the illnesses and the old belief systems and patterns started to shut that down, it was easier to heal. We felt more aligned intuitively. We just felt, more at home within our bodies and within ourselves. And so we get a sense of understanding kind of our genetic connection to our health and well-being, what can change within that genetic expression. So again, it's some of this stuff may seem a little bit out there, but becomes very practical and very understandable as you start to connect and understand the energies that you're working with. So those are kind of the main components of the basic course. And then the advanced course is a lovely continuation of that. Do you have anything you want to say about the basic, or I can dive into the advanced?
No, I was just going to say that I've just shared the link so people can go back and read, because you've got a really good description of it on the website, because, you know, there's a lot of information there and you do learn a lot. So if you're getting called, if you're getting drawn, you can go and you can read. I've shared the link there, you'll be able to see it. So that was all. Yeah.
Awesome. So so for the advanced course, again, it's another 3 days. It's just a really nice continuation of the basic. So you learn a few advanced techniques within that, which is things like healing free floating memories. So people pick up if they're in surgery under anesthesia, if they've had too much in terms of substances. You know, we pick up all these things and don't know why they're there. You do things like healing the baby in the womb. So whether it's for you or a person you're working on, you're healing them as a baby in the womb through the pregnancy, through the birth. It goes all the way through their lifetime. It's really profound. It's really powerful. We do some soul healing, and then we do deeper, more digging work. We learn how to navigate the subconscious more. Oh, the first morning you receive 1,000 downloads. So that's which is, so the 1,000 downloads are positive beliefs and positive feelings. Now, the idea with that is if you don't know what joy really feels like, it's hard to create it. It's hard to work. If you don't know what peace feels like, how do you find it? Like, how do you get it? So the idea is that these feelings will help you to manifest and help you to know what you're calling in that's stopping that, but also what you can then say, oh, this is what peace feels like. Let me implement that in my life. Let me choose that now. We do things like the ancestral readings, which are so fun. When you start talking to your ancestors, life just becomes so cool. Honestly, you will understand yourself so much more deeply and why you are the way you are. But also it helps you understand, like you start to recognize if there's illness that's traveled through families, if there's old belief patterns, you can just go, okay, no, I see where that has served them for a while. And now it can end. We can be finished with this. And your ancestors can receive those healings too, if they want to. We do a higher self connection and reading, and that really changed my life, because when I understood, so the way I talk about higher self is it's kind of that point between soul and human. So it's that meeting point of, like, you on your very best days, when you're totally in flow, when you're not triggered by your shit, where you're like making choices that are really healthy, and you have that higher awareness of your life, that higher perspective of, this is who I really am. This is what I really am here to create. This is what I want to be doing. So it just helps you. So it doesn't take you out of being human. It just introduces a bit more of the divine into it, I think. So having that a higher awareness and that higher perspective makes such a difference. We do things like we talk to plants. That really opened my mind when I was like, oh, plants have consciousness and I can talk to a plant. Okay, I can talk to anything. Like, you really can connect with anything.
Absolutely. It's and you know, Joey Dean, the young DJ that's DJing with plants, the music, the frequencies from the plants. Well, I knew about that because I'd read that book, Secret of Yourselves, about Cleve Baxter. So the plants were responding to him, what he was thinking, he didn't even have a chance to get it out of the brain into the mouth. The plant already knew that telepathic communication, which I think with the telepathy tapes as well, people are starting to go, and we've all had it. You look at somebody and you just know what they're thinking. You know, but that becomes enhanced and normal. I suppose, which is, things are changing drastically. You know,
that is a great way to put it, and I talk about that a lot. Is when you normalize, because so many people think their intuitive senses and healing is something weird or out there. Only certain people can do it. You only do it at certain places, certain times. That's nonsense. Like, again, you can change. You can heal in a moment. You can change your mind in a moment. You can change a perspective in a moment, and that can change the trajectory of your life. And when we normalize the things that seem woo-woo or out there and go, oh no, actually I'm a walking, talking miracle, of course. Of course. Then life becomes more magical and miraculous and fun. And that for me is, I mean, the world becomes your playground, really. Absolutely. When you can tune in.
And that's again what we were just talking about. My friend was here last night and I was telling him about the course and the game of life. When we start taking it all so seriously, and don't get me wrong, I know hard things happen, but they happen to all of us. But then when you can go, right, let's play the game. And it just changes the way that we are within the world. And obviously from a healing perspective, which is what you and I are obsessed with, is when you stop taking everything so seriously, you start to heal. You know, it's the idea that there's problems, instead of going, oh, there's solutions. Oh, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this.
What I found is that if you can become curious and start to ask why and just be open to the answers that come, that's when it becomes really interesting. And it's less of a hardship problem and more of a, oh, well, let's see what would happen if we played with this, or let's see what would happen if I changed this, or you become more of an alchemist in that state. But I do think the curiosity is a big part of that.
Yes, for sure. A willingness and an open mind is an open mind and an open heart. Because I did my first 528 retreat, which was just basically, I want to talk to you about this as well when we're in Cretan, because it was a huge success. And basically what you're doing is saying, come and let's tap into this unconditional love frequency for as long as we can. And it was just beautiful because, you know, normally I'm like, right, in the ice, it's the complete opposite of that. I'm like, let's love the fascia, let's change the brainwaves, let's float into higher states of ecstasy. So it was a beautiful one for me to teach as well. And of course, I'm already buzzing with ideas that I can bring to Cretan. And when you said that about the unconditional love, because it's the same thing, right? And that's all these modalities are pretty much saying the same thing. That is there's a frequency that we can allow to flow through us that will do the work for us. and we can take the day off.
And it's actually in every cell. Like it's not outside of us. It's just letting it work.
Exactly. And it's so exciting. Now, what would you say, because, again, and for people that maybe don't know us, we understand the power of the collective beliefs and how, if somebody went home, for example, and said, I want to do that Theta course, what is it? That's hippie, woo-woo, because people don't understand what it actually is.
Yeah.
And that it's an actual physiological way you can work with the chemistry and the physiology of the body to get different results. And if you want things to change, you have to change.
Yeah.
There's no other way about it. So the why I'm really excited about having this academy up at the hub is that we're going to attract people that are like, right, show me what to do. Yeah. Tell me about this. I'm going to learn this. And so we're going to have that kind of coherence around, yes, it's a possibility. Yes, it's a potential in the field. Yes, the body is incredible. I think that energy compared to this, that's a lot of crap. What do you mean? You can just do this. You just it's a bit like the Sedona method. You just welcome the feeling and let it go. Who can believe it's that easy? Nobody. You want it to be complicated. Did the scientists, did somebody with 3 PhDs and 20 degrees tell us this? It's crazy how simple it can be, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and that's where it's great to, if you are going to courses or connecting in with people that, just the willingness to say what's possible, what could happen. That's a great first step. And, I'm not a fan of people are like, oh, you just have to cut everybody out of your life that doesn't believe. I think sometimes that's a bit of an overcorrection, but I think it's also recognizing, having this awareness of, yes, we can have an impact on each other, but we don't control each other. And that's been one of my biggest healings and lessons in life is people can believe what they want to believe, but I get to believe what I want to believe too. Yeah. And that their belief systems do not have to affect me. They don't have to hold a sway over me, because I can say, I respect your experiences. I can respect where you're coming from, but this is where I am. And this is what I've witnessed in my life. And I've seen amazing things happen, and I've seen people change their lives. And I know for myself, I used to have migraines all the time. I used to have a bunch of skin problems and digestive issues. And that stuff has resolved itself by going through. I didn't even focus on my digestive stuff. It just healed because I was focusing. I was digging into other things, and things connect. So my whole thing was, I want to understand energy more. I want to understand the consciousness more, and the healing happened as a result of that. Yes. So I think you can kind of recognize, what's important for me. What do I want to learn from this? What do I want to gain from this? And am I willing to not follow what these people are saying, because that's for them and it's not for me. So kind of loosening up these things of my identity as I follow this, or I'm a part of this, or I do this, and saying, let's create space for something new.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that's really important for people that are watching is, it doesn't have to be a physical thing. If you feel you're blocked, if you feel that you're lost, and you're like, why, my life's mundane. This is not really the job I want to be doing. I mean, it's a brilliant course for that as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, that so many of us are lost these days because we're looking out at the world going, what is going on here? I think, where are we going with this? So
I think so much of this is about figuring out what quality of life you want to have.
Yeah.
And when you can start to recognize that, then you can start to choose in accordance to that. But so many of us, and this is where the unconscious comes in, you just get up, you have the same schedule, you eat the same food, you talk to the same people, you gossip about the same nonsense, you doom scroll on your phone. It's just these habitual things. And when you start to disrupt that, then the quality of your life change. And sometimes having some help with your belief systems, being able to shift some of that, just makes all that much easier to approach those changes.
Disrupts the word, doesn't it? Just disrupting the pattern.
Yeah.
And, again, going back to that course, but obviously I was just going, just change that word from wealth to health. It's the same story.
Yeah.
Just, everybody's making the same mistakes. Everybody's dealing with the same crap. And you can just make a couple of minor adjustments, and suddenly the flow And that's really what Theta allows you to do, isn't it?
Yeah. And money's never about money. Money is always about something else. So we think it's about the money. It's never about that. So when you can start to understand what unconsciously what money represents to you, for some people it's power or lack of power. For some people it's influence. For some people it's choice and freedom. So it's really kind of identifying what that means for you. And then you can start to make those changes for yourself.
And don't you find that when the people that come on the course get to know each other, there's so much healing happens just with that, isn't there? Because we've all been drawn to the same spot for whatever reason. And then, and it could be, that's what I love about our festivals. I see people going away and making these amazing connections and businesses collaborating and supporting each other. And, because that's how it works.
Yeah.
It's an upward spiral as opposed to a downward spiral that we can all be on as well.
The first class I took, I had 10 students in my class, and we were just getting ready to start. I was just tuning into the group, and I just had this moment where I was like, new friends for everybody. Like, I was so excited that they were meeting each other and we're going to get to have these experiences together. Because and I'm a big believer that I hold space for a class. I'm here to teach, but the students call each other in. So there is something, they're meant to meet each other too. So it's more than just the class. It's that community and connection too.
I know. And that's obviously within our community. That's what we want to do, is to put the right people together to enhance the process. And we know from Joe Dispenza's work, what's he doing? He's getting 1,500 people in a room 2 or 3 times a month going, come on, we can do this. And that power of that collective belief and that collective openness and willingness, because the trust they have in that man, because he's a brilliant teacher. And so it's just like, we were designed to do this together, and when we all do it together, obviously it's way more fun and it's way more powerful. But it's just getting people to open up to that possibility of the collective. And that's why we've kind of rebranded Heal Together. Nobody can do this alone. Why would you? You can, and that's not true. You can do it alone, but it's way more fun to do it with others. So why would you not? Why would we not make it fun? And why would we not? I like what you said there about quality of life. The quality of life, and certainly when you get to my age, you're like that. That's all I care about. And on that course, I realised I had decided I don't want staff and I don't want overheads, and also almost a bit to the detriment of the growth of Heal Scotland, where I was sticking to that. Well, I don't want that. And then, I get my mind opened up again. It's like, well, where are you actually thinking this is going to go if you don't do that? How are you, and how I'd kind of unconsciously limited myself. And don't get me wrong, that served me for the last 15 years.
Sure.
You can float about, you don't have any stress. But now it's like, right, okay, we're in a situation that needs attention.
What's that? The saying is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to grow, you grow with people. So you got to have people to help you.
Absolutely. So that's awesome. So I've put the link up. If anybody's got any questions for Jen, let's just talk a little bit about the accommodation, because it's very unique. And it's a beautiful place that Stephanie and Rick have created. But it's not a but. It's just to make people aware. There's tiny houses in the garden, which are amazing, with their own little log burners, etc. But it's an outside toilet. So if you like that, that's great, because somebody like me, I would be all over that. But I do understand that some people, they'd rather be in the house with the toilet right there. So that's why I've put it on the site, that because obviously I'm running courses after Jen, to contact us, the accommodation, so that we can make sure that you're going to be comfortable. And we're intermittent fasting with a delicious brunch and a delicious dinner. And I'm actually now, because I've been getting hounded for years, why don't you do a recipe book? And I was like, no. And Juliet was up and she said, I'm going to talk to John Angus about a recipe book. She's like, you should. I was like, no, it's flat out no. And then I was hearing myself. I'm like, why are you? Because again, I'd made a story up. You need to make all the food. You need to have the photographer there the whole time. It's going to cost a fortune. I'd made that story up. And then I was like, right, open up, Lilia. How many people need to ask you to make a recipe book? You start, and I'm talking in the hundreds here. So I thought, I'm going to start teaching the healing way and how we do it and how I think about it, because I realised at the last retreat that a lot of people still have not got a clue.
Yeah.
Not got a clue about why we provide the incredible food that we provide. So yes, it's very exciting.
I'm excited about the food.
And I am opening my mind up to the recipe book. Okay, well, listen, that's fantastic. I look forward. Have you been down to Steph's yet? Did you go down?
I was there last week or the week before. Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely.
It's
really lovely. Nice, really great drive down. Yeah, cranked up the radio.
It's way easier to get to the guy.
It was fun.
It's what, 2-hour drive? Was it?
Yeah, a little over 2.
It's a couple hours. Yeah, so it's really easy to get
beautiful
to.
space. Got in the sauna. It was great.
Amazing. I know, it's beautiful. And if anybody needs a lift share, please just get in touch and we will organise. We can all tribe up and help each other out with that. Or if you're taking a train or a bus, we can get you picked up. So, if you're feeling the call, then please come and join us. Okie dokie. Well, listen, I'll let you go because I know you've got a busy day, and I'll talk to you a bit before this anyway. But thank you, and
thank you too.
I'm excited to be there and to upgrade my skill set and and get rid of a lot of the limiting beliefs that I'm still carting around with.
We'll have fun.
Okay, bye everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Cheers now.